What's going on, people? Welcome back to Premsley TV. It's a special episode today, people, with the big breaking news yesterday that Cristiano Ronaldo wants out of Manchester United. And we've got none other than James with us today to discuss that. How you doing, James? You good, my bro?
Yeah, good until the news yesterday, man. But I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, a bit out of the blue.
A bit out the blue. So, people, just getting into it. So, if you've been sleeping under a rock since yesterday, yeah, and you haven't known the news, Cristiano Ronaldo was told Manchester United he wants to leave this summer as he wants to see more ambition. Man United are still hopeful of keeping CR7, but aware of the decision. Sorry. And to be honest with you, James, you're a United fan. I've watched a lot of your content, to be fair, on United View and stuff like that. And I just wanted to get your opinion and just get my charger in place because my laptop's on a mad thing. There we go. Happy days. Where do you stand on it? Are you happy him going, or are you deviled?
The fan base is split, man. From my point of view, at this point in the window, this season, after the season we just had, we can't afford to lose Ronaldo, man. We really can't. Like, I've seen, and people accuse that of being player FC, you're just supporting the player over the club. If he wants to leave, he should leave. But Man United need Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo has 815 career goals. Cristiano Ronaldo was the third top scorer in the league last season in a god-awful Man United team. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the best players, greatest players of all time. So I'm not having it that we're better without him or that we're happy for him to go, because United's transfer business is shocking, to be honest, mate. So what are the odds of us getting in someone that can score 18, 20 goals in the Premier League next season? Next to nothing. So from my point of view, I'd love him to stay. But it's up to Ronaldo and Mendes, isn't it, really? I guess the club could put a block on it, but are you really going to stop Ronaldo going? I don't know. If he seems to get what he wants, doesn't he?
To be honest, I've seen like he's got quite a bit of ambition as a player. Now, you can look at it two ways. You can look at his ambition and you can look at his, right, he's 37. He's got a few years left. He's saying himself he's got the best part of 3-4 years left and he wants that to be at the highest level. United not being in the Champions League, he wants to obviously go on and win shit, which you can see because he's a world-class player. But you can also look at it and say he's already won everything that he needs to win. Why don't he stay and help United get back to where they need to get to? And there's a lot of United fans, especially that I know, that believe that he's caused a disruption at United since he's been there. Even though he scored the goals and he's done whatever he's done, it hasn't really benefited the team all round in the sense of the connectivity between the players and unsettling the dressing room. So I don't know where you stand on it with it, James, but do you not feel like Ronaldo should stay, show that loyalty to United? They brought him back the second time, put all the eggs in the baskets in him and took him away from City. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. Let me put it to you. Do you think he owes it to United to stay?
Personally, I'd be honest here. I feel like if I was Cristiano Ronaldo and in that position, I've won everything that I need to win. Yeah, I would personally stay to try to help the club that I love get back to where they need to be. However, I don't blame him for wanting to go and still win things because of that level of competition between him and Lionel Messi. And people always saying who's the greatest, and he always wants to be at the top because he's that caliber of player. So I don't also mock him for wanting to go as well. But he's won everything there is to really win, ain't there? So if he wanted to just chill at United and try his best to help them, he can. But personally, I feel like if you did move on from Ronaldo, it would benefit your team more.
Well, let's flip it again and think that his first club was Sporting Lisbon, which are a club that are in the Champions League. So if he won everything there is to win and isn't bothered about winning stuff, why doesn't he go back home, take a pay cut, and help out the team that built him, basically?
Well, he says he loves United, don't he? Unless he's chatting shit.
No, I think he does. Listen, I don't think that's disputable, to be honest. I think he loves United. I think he loves Sporting Lisbon, and I think in some way he loves Madrid, although they didn't treat him very well. And so I think he's got a lot of love for all the teams that he's played for, and especially the managers like Sir Alex Ferguson. He calls him a father figure, doesn't he? On the disruption thing you mentioned before, right? This is my take on it. Now, before Ronaldo came, we were signing Jadon Sancho. Well, we just signed Jadon Sancho. And the plan under Ollie was to play like a rotational front three. It was Sancho, Greenwood, and Rashford, right? Three English lads, all best mates, flying pace, wingers, all that kind of stuff. Great pace on the counter. And that was the way we were going to play.
Mm.
But then you get a chance to sign the GOAT, who's a club legend, for what, 2.5 million a year over 5 years. So he took it, stopped him going to the rivals. Well, rivals in City, not rivals in like actually where we're at the moment, but local rivals. It stopped him going to them. And it was kind of a no-brainer at the time. I think we were all happy to see him back. Now, fast forward a bit, Rashford's form's fallen off a cliff. Greenwood is obviously unavailable to play. So, and Sancho kind of fell out of form. He was in and out throughout the season. So, if we'd have relied on them this season, I mean, our goal difference, I don't know if you know last season, mate, it's our worst ever season. We had 58 points and a 0 goal difference. Cristiano Ronaldo scored 18 goals. So, where would
Yeah.
we be without him? We
Mm.
wouldn't be sixth, mate. We'd be bottom half of the league. Like, because Rashford wasn't in form and Greenwood couldn't play. So, who are we playing? Martial, Alanga? Like, I just don't see it. I don't see that argument at all, to be fair. And
Yeah.
so I don't think Ronaldo's made our team worse. On the future, like Ten Hag's got a 4-year contract. Right now, Cristiano Ronaldo's not going to be here for 4 years. We all know that. But can he be the stopgap for next season while we search for a longer term replacement as a striker?
Mm.
Yes. And in Ten Hag's first press conference, he was asked what Cristiano Ronaldo brings to Manchester United. And he
Mm.
replied with one word, and he said, goals. And that's what he does. So we
Yeah.
can't afford to let him go at the moment, in my opinion, mate.
So obviously, what my mate would be replying back to you, because obviously he's a United fan. I speak to him quite a lot, and he is one of the people that brings up that argument. And what he would say in response is, the years prior to Ronaldo come, they finished higher. So, and that's potentially with more or less the same players that they had anyway. So, yeah, he might have scored the goals. Just because he's getting the numbers, is it benefiting the full team? Because overall, United's obviously gone more of a decline with more or less the same players that they already did have. So,
Listen, yeah.
do you hear
Listen,
what I'm saying?
yeah, it's a valid argument, mate. But at the end of the day, football's a bit more complex than that. It's a huge
Mm.
confidence game. In that season, we finished second. We were miles off first place, City. Liverpool had Van Dijk out for most of the season, and they had a couple of injuries. Chelsea weren't the team they were, and they bounced back the following season. So it was a bit of a false position, that, to be honest. Like, we were top at Christmas, and everyone was like, we don't know how. We have no idea how we were top at Christmas. It was just one of them freak things because we weren't playing great football. We managed to beat City, I think, 2-1, and we were like, don't know where that came from. And it was a strange one because we finished second, and that summer we signed Jadon Sancho, one of the most promising young talents in Europe. Rafa Varane, probably one of the most established centre backs and multiple Champions League winners and leaders. And we signed Cristiano Ronaldo, arguably the greatest player of all time. So people look at that on the face of it and they go, you're second, you've signed all those players. If they all work, you should be challenging for the league.
Mm.
But that season was a bit of a freak and things don't always work out. And then there was the disruption with Ollie and then Ranić coming in and none of the players taking to him and changing tactics. And it was all a bit strange last season, mate. The atmosphere and everything around the club was just
Big
very,
mess.
very strange. Oh, the
Big
biggest
mess
mess.
it looked at. So just a question here from Craig for both of us. Do you think basically Ronaldo regrets not joining Man City last season? And I think the clear answer is 100%. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he does have that soft spot for Man United, and I think that's why he did come back and sign for United. But best believe if United didn't come in for him, I don't think his loyalties are that strong. I think he would have went to Man City because he knows that there's opportunity of him winning trophies. Just something like Black Africa just says here that he's obsessed with winning trophies, and I don't think that he's wrong. I think a player of his mindset and quality, you clearly see that he's obsessed, and by him saying to his agent George Mendes that he wants to go and it's coming out by credible sources, it's no joke, really. Do you know what I
No,
mean? What do you think
it's
on
not,
that?
man. Do you remember end of 2021, right, when it was New Year, so going into 2022, and we'd obviously had the pandemic, and it was a really tough year, right? Ronaldo put an Instagram post out. I don't know if you saw it, and it was basically him on a yacht, like topless or whatever, sitting back with a drink, and he basically said, "2021 was a tough year for many people, but I still got 47 goals in all competitions." Like, he's just so about himself, you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
doesn't care what's going on in the world. He's all about his own personal records, which is why, as soon as we ended up in the Europa League, I did wonder, I did think, because I'm like, 815 career goals doesn't scream Europa League to me. All-time top scorer in the Champions League doesn't scream Europa League. More knockout goals in the Champions League doesn't scream Europa League. Multiple Ballon d'Or winners, multiple Champions League wins. Doesn't scream Europa League. So I did think we'd probably get a Ronaldo out story during the summer, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, and you know what? There's something I heard Rory Jennings say on Talk Sport as well, saying that Ronaldo wouldn't, obviously not word for word, but in other senses, saying Ronaldo won't be letting this news slip out if he hasn't already got a move sealed. And that makes so much sense because the backlash that he could receive from the fans, from the club, could be massive if he doesn't get a move, especially after the news has come out that he does want to move. So I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think Bayern Munich are looking like they're going to be the front runners, obviously looking like a potential Lewandowski replacement. How do you see it? Do you feel like Bayern are going to probably snap him up if that's the team that he will be, if he does leave United at all?
Potentially, man, but there's a massive yo-yo and like domino effect in football. So ironically, the situation for us, but like the ideal situation for us, from my point of view, is that Cristiano Ronaldo stays and we sign Frankie de Jong. What could potentially happen is we sign Frankie de Jong. That gives money to Barcelona. Barcelona signed Lewandowski. Bayern Munich need a Lewandowski replacement. Bayern Munich sign Ronaldo. So it could be a domino effect that we actually instigate by the signing of Frankie de Jong. So it's all, listen, it's all up in the air. If he went to Bayern Munich, he's obviously got a great shout of winning the Champions League under a very good manager, a very successful team with great pedigree. I think it's one of the only major leagues which he's not, won. I think he's won Serie A, he's won La Liga, he's won the Premier League, and if he went and won the Bundesliga, I think, to be honest, I mean, you can look at style of football, but in terms of merit alone and winnings, and sport is about winning at the end of the day, I think that puts the nail in the coffin of the Messi-Ronaldo debate, because he's going everywhere, and everywhere he's going, he's doing it. I mean, you could say he didn't do it last season, but 18 goals is doing it. 37 in the Premier League, 18 goals in a shocking United team is still doing it.
Well, to be honest with you, James, that the numbers do speak for themselves. I think he got 24 goals and 3 assists in all competitions in 34 games. So they are good numbers. But I feel Bayern Munich, they look like they're trying to build something there. I won't be surprised if he does go to them this window. I feel like he probably has got a move tied up, and United have come out and said that they don't want him to go. They see him being part of the plans for pre-season and the trip abroad and stuff like that. But it puts Ten Hag in a bit of a funny position because he's come straight into the club, and now he's got to deal with arguably a star man wanting to leave. And I don't think United have helped the situation, because this window, they haven't brought in any significant signings to improve the squad. And I feel like he's seen that Paul Pogba's left and gone to Juventus on a free. So it is a bit of a sticky situation for you. Where do you think Ten Hag's at with all of this? Do you think he thinks that he's going to end up having to let him go? Or do you reckon he'll force him to stay?
I'm really not sure.
Forced to stay, you're not getting the best out of him for me.
No, and I also think you could get an even more divisive Ronaldo. If you think he was causing trouble before and divisive before, then you're really going to find out that he can be if you force him to stay. Yeah, I just think it's a weird one, mate. Ten Hag, like, I don't know how much you know about our situation with our club and our owners and stuff, but obviously the Glazers are a massive problem and parasites to the football club. But at the end of the day, it's like, I think Ten Hag's going to realise that what he was promised isn't necessarily what he's going to get. And let's flip it as well and say, could it just be a story put out there from Ronaldo to George Mendes to try and instigate some fire in the board and say, listen, I'm Cristiano Ronaldo. I've got all this ambition. I love Manchester United Football Club. Where's their ambition? Where's your ambition? Where are the signings? You sign people, I'll stay. It's already come out that he's a big fan of Ten Hag. He thinks Ten Hag will do great at the football club. But Ten Hag is not enough on his own. He needs support. He needs players. And if Ronaldo's sitting there checking his Twitter each day like he does, waiting for all the insiders to get all their information and get their transfer knowledge and stuff across, like, we're not making any moves in the transfer market, mate. We get linked with everyone. I say it all the time, right? But we are reactive FC, not proactive FC. We never go out and get things done. We dilly-dally. We mess about all the time. We react to other people. We're never the first onto a situation like other clubs are. Man City, right? The club across the road.
Sounded like us there, James.
We are, mate. Honestly, like Man City, the club across the road. Like I hate to say it, but in the last like 15 years, they've been run perfectly, right? Like every time they've got someone going out, they replace them like years in advance. Like Fernandinho has been retiring for about 3 years. When did they sign his replacement, Rodri? 3 years ago. Took him a couple of seasons to bed in. Now he looks like absolute Rolls Royce of a player. They've probably got a successor lined up for Pep already. They replace everyone years in advance, unless they don't think like they need it. They didn't think they needed a Kun Aguero replacement. They didn't. They won the league without one, and now they think they might need one because Liverpool are pressing on. So they sign Haaland.
Mm.
We're just so reactive. It's crazy. I just wish we'd go out and do stuff first.
So say Ronaldo did go, James, who would be an adequate replacement for him? Because obviously it's easy to say that word. Obviously, I don't think you can replace Ronaldo's goals that easy and what he can offer to the team. Personally, I feel like United need a player a bit like Harry Kane, who can drop into midfield, a bit like Wayne Rooney used to do, collect the ball. And that was their best style of play for me, watching him as an opposing fan. I think Harry Kane could fit that mould. Potentially Richarlison going there. Do you reckon United could put a cheeky bid in for Harry Kane if Ronaldo goes?
I mean, it would be a very Glazers signing. Like, let's chuck all this money at a commercial signing that will sell loads of shirts. But I don't think it'd be a very Ten Hag signing. If you look at Ten Hag's history of bringing players up through youth, finding cheaper talent, bringing them in together, I don't think it would really suit his mould. And I think, by all accounts, it looks like we're going to be playing some kind of front three. And I don't really think we're going to probably have a target man. I think it's going to be fairly fluid. So I don't think it would be a Harry Kane. And I'd love to throw names back at you, mate, but I'm not a massive FIFA player or Football Manager player. I don't know all these players from everywhere. Like I don't pretend to, like a lot of pundits and fan opinion people do. But the answer is like I don't have Ten Hag on speed dial, and my answer is whoever Ten Hag wants. Like he's the manager. The whole point is we've had Woodward and people making signings and decisions for so long. We need to trust that decision to the manager and the scouts who actually should do their due diligence and their job. And whoever Ten Hag thinks best suits his system is the player we should go for. But I don't know who that is. I wouldn't mind a Harry Kane type player. I just don't think that's someone that Ten Hag would go for. Could be wrong.
Because I think to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he did go for someone of that caliber because Sebastian Haller, that kind of mold really. If he wasn't really a small, quick player, he was quite big and like a target man in a sense. So I feel like if United do let Ronaldo go, I feel like they will have to let him go if he wants to go because there's no point having somebody on them massive wages and stuff like that just sitting on the bench. Obviously, the commercial revenues he brings in is another thing as well, which they might potentially be able to just keep him just because of that alone. But if Ronaldo's not playing, not on the bench, how many more people are going to be watching the games and stuff? After a few weeks, they'll just probably lock off and then it's going to have an impact. So I think if he does want to go, I think they should just let him go. I think United now are in a process of a 3-4 year build and they've always tried to buy big players, Galacticos, players that are well known in the Premier League and all around the world. And to be fair, it's worked best part of 20 years, 30 years. And then obviously after Alex Ferguson, they start having this decline now. And it does look like they're going to have to rebuild because they have brought in players and it hasn't worked out. Look, they brought in Ronaldo last year. It's not worked out. So I think with them bringing Ten Hag in, you can see that they are trying to build something. I just think Ronaldo wants no part of waiting 3-4 years to start trying to challenge when all he's got is 3-4 years left in his tank. And to be fair, that's very understandable. Like I said before, him going. I feel like Bayern Munich would be his best suited option because he's going to guaranteed win the league with them. They could probably one of the only teams that can afford him. And it's like you said, is exploring another option, another league, something he hasn't done before. Is an opportunity for him to grow his fan base in Germany and show them over there what he can do. And like I said, he's 37, scoring 18 goals in the Premier League. I'm sure he can go there and do a job. But PSG, just want to knock onto PSG. Do you reckon that's an opportunity that they can explore? Because they got money and they like doing crazy deals.
Are they ever going to play together, mate? Ever? Are they ever going to play together, Ronaldo and Messi? I don't know, man. Like it, it would be a dream to see, right? I went to a while ago at Old Trafford. There was a game between it was Argentina and Portugal friendly, I think it was, and they both played on the same pitch. Ironically, they were both awful that day. It's really, really bad. But the idea of seeing probably the two greatest players of our all time playing in the same team and seeing how that would work is interesting for everyone. I think everyone would, as a neutral, I think people would love to see it before they retire. I think they would. I don't see it happening. I really don't. I just,
If
yeah,
Neymar goes, I see there's a possibility that something like that could happen because,
really.
like you said, is just imagine the revenue that
Oh,
PSG would be pulling in with having a Ronaldo and a Messi at their club. That is just craziness. And to be fair, that's something I can see them kind of man that run them clubs doing just because they've got silly money to burn. Everything's a game to them, really. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you
I
think these
mean,
man
yeah,
grown up? Do you think they've grown up watching football? They ain't grown up watching football. Do you know what I mean? I'm telling you now for a fact. They haven't grown up. What this is just a game to them. They'll probably do that. But there's talks of Juventus wanting him as well, and him going returning to Juventus. But I can't really see that happening. I'm sure Chiellini came out and said that he was glad that Ronaldo was gone when he did move to United. So it looks like he unsettled the dressing room there a little bit.
yeah. I mean, listen, like on this unsettling the dressing room thing, I touched on it before, but Ronaldo's a huge, huge personality, and huge personalities are always going to cause some upset everywhere they go. And it's probably happened in multiple teams throughout history. And the reason Ronaldo caused upset at Manchester United this time round is because Ronaldo's a winner. And unfortunately, the current United team is full of losers. We touched on it earlier this season. But ironically, we lost. I think we lost 1-0 to Wolves. But we played that game, right? And Phil Jones played. And he was the only player on the pitch apart from De Gea who walked off with like his could walk off with his head held high like he tried. And it was like Phil Jones and David De Gea are the only two players. What have they got in common? They're both Fergie signings. Everyone that we've signed since then, mate, losers mentality. Complete losers mentality, completely different kettle of fish. And yes, obviously Phil Jones isn't a world beater. I'm not saying he's the answer to the defensive issue. I'm not saying that. I'm
I
saying the
can't even believe
mentality.
his name is still ringing, bro. That's a madness.
Honestly, but the actual mentality of a player that Sir Alex Ferguson would go for and what he drilled into them is this like never say die, never give up attitude. And I just don't see that at United. Like this season, we had a big problem. We'd be 1-0 up at half time almost all the time. And then, or 2-0 sometimes. And literally, we are so fragile in confidence. As soon as the opposition scored one, we concede another. Like almost all the time. Happened at Villa, 2-0 up, 10 minutes to go. They scored one, and I was like, there's only one way this is going. We're not the same team we used to be. Old Trafford isn't the fortress it used to be. I think people are looking at the Premier League fixture list coming out, and they look at Old Trafford and they go, yeah, we can get 3 points there. And I'm not talking about the top six. I'm talking about all teams in the Premier League thinking we could get a draw or we could get a win there if we turn up. If we rattle them a bit, get the fans to turn on them a bit, they don't get an early goal, the fan base murmurs a bit, they start booing, all this. It's not a hard place to go at the moment. It's really not.
No,
So
most
tough
definitely,
time to be
James.
a United fan.
You know what? Yeah, as well. I 100% agree. I don't think teams are scared of United no more. I don't think opposing fans are scared of United no more. And see that fear factor United did have once upon a time. Best believe that helped them get over the line a lot of the time. And the theatre of dreams, all of that. Now people are going to Old Trafford, spanking United is not really that much of an issue. And that does come back down to the mentality that's created by the club and the manager, just like Kish is saying here, because obviously Ten Hag's just come in, so you got to give him a little bit of time to see what he can do. He's got to obviously put his imprint on the team. I personally believe, looking from the outside in, that they offered him a lot. He's come in and he ain't really getting what he's promised in a sense, because there's no way everyone's moving in the market, and the team that needs the surgery the most, in my opinion, is not really doing anything. And I think that's down to either fees, because United might not be wanting to be spending big money on people, wanting to get ripped off. Maybe they're waiting for other teams to agree deals and then jump in. God knows what their strategy is like. But the way Arsenal and United are at the moment as teams, and how we've fallen from grace, we have to act fast in the market, act quicker than other teams, because other teams are already ahead of us. I'm personally scared of what Tottenham are doing, because the
Yeah.
manager that I wanted is signing the players that I wanted. It's a madness, bro. So you got to look at it. They finished third last season, fourth last season. Chelsea, for me, I don't feel like they're going to be able to hold the same fight that they did last season. I feel like Tottenham probably comfortably finish third with the signings that they've got, and if they do keep Kane, they're just adding to two world-class players in the areas that they need with a world-class manager. And Conte is getting what he wants because he's here to win now. He ain't trying to build something for 2, 3, 4 years time down the line. So clubs like us, James, we have to be one step ahead in a certain sense, because me growing up, Arsenal and United were the two top teams. People used to fear us coming to Highbury, coming to Old Trafford. Now, obviously, people don't really fear us at all. The two top teams is City and Liverpool. It's been like that for a number of years. But surely we got to get our act together. And obviously, you touched on your owners before. Our owners look like they're pumping a little bit of money into the club. What is it you're most disappointed about this window? What is it that you would like to see? If you can not name players, but name a few positions that you need to be solidified this window, what would you like to come in?
Well, I'll just touch on the fact that, like, growing up, like post like '93, since when I started watching football, it was like Martin Edwards, David Gill, Sir Alex Ferguson. If we wanted a player, Man United were a huge team. We went and got that player. That's just what happened, right? Then the Glazers came in, and we had basically Ed Woodward dealing with transfers like post 2013. And the reason we're having to overpay and stuff in the market now is simply because Ed Woodward has been throwing around daft money at daft players for the last 9 years, basically. And he paid Alexis Sanchez, for example, 400 grand a week to play a piano. He signed Lukaku for 75 million, Pogba for 90 million, Di Maria for 60 million. He spent 80 million on Harry Maguire, 50 million on Wan-Bissaka, 52 million on Fred. Like, all these deals got signed off by Woodward, right? So when teams see Man United coming, they think, I can add a bit onto the price tag here. It's like if you own a shop or you own a market stall and you see someone walking down in the Rolex or whatever, you're like, all right, I might charge this guy a tenner more. You know, or something like that. Like, people just, they see United coming and they're like, right, we're going to pull the pants down. And it happened like Calvin Phillips, we were in for him at the beginning of the window, right? We got quoted about 62 million. The next thing you know, he signed for City for 47 million or something. It's like, why are they getting him £15 million cheaper than we were going to get him for? United tax, mate. It's outrageous. On the positions and stuff, the reason I'm disappointed this window is the only player that we've signed or looks like we're going to sign is Malacia, who's a left back. Now, if you would have asked me priorities in terms of who I wanted to sign in positions, I'm not going to give names, but I think that's probably about 6th on my list. I think we need someone across the forward line. I think we need a CDM and another midfielder. So there's 3. I think we could do with a right back and a centre back as 4 and 5. And then you're looking at left back competition for sure.
A lot of surgery needed there.
Loads, man. Like, honestly, like, this is the thing, right? You can go through from 1 to 11 and you can make a case for every player being a problem. Like, I'm a big David De Gea fan. You've probably seen him save us countless times against your team. But at the end of the day, people still argue against him because of his distribution and stuff. So people still think he's an issue. Luke Shaw, issue. Maguire, issue. Varane, not been good enough, issue. Wan-Bissaka, issue. McTominay, issue. Fred, issue. Sancho looks okay. But, like, again, hit and miss. You can go through literally every player in that team. Even I'm not a Bruno Fernandes fan, mate. He might have got the numbers in the first season, but last season, gives the ball away far too much, shirts tackles, throws tantrums. I'm not a fan. So at the end of the day, there's not a single one of them players that I'm emotionally attached to. And if they left tomorrow, I'd be like, ugh. The only reason I'm gutted about the Ronaldo thing if he leaves, because we're not going to get a replacement. If you offered me a replacement for Ronaldo tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah, okay, it's fine.
Now, you know what, James? I hear that as well, but personally, I think with the De Gea situation as well, I think he's an absolute unbelievable shot stopper. You can't deny that. But I still think if United need to improve, they do need to improve on De Gea now, because sometimes you got to know when to move on from players. Just like Arsenal do, we've had a habit of hanging on and latching onto players and not getting the value that we needed to get from him at certain times. Now, with De Gea, I just feel he's a bit weak. He's still, from the moment he's come to United Football Club, and I've been watching him, I've always thought on set pieces, we've got a good chance because the keepers,
Yeah.
he ain't really, he's a bit flimsy with it. Do you know what I'm saying? He's
Yeah.
always kicking the ball out with his feet, which is dangerous territory in the Premier League. You don't know who it's going to land to rather than using his hands. And I feel like if United did upgrade on a keeper, as they call it, a bit of a modern age keeper, somebody could play with their feet, somebody a bit like an Edison, a bit like a Ramsdale's trying to do now, Allison, someone like that. Obviously, it starts from the back in it. So I think once you maybe refresh that position and get somebody in of quality as well, not just a keeper like Dean Henderson, put him in or whatnot, get someone of quality, put him in there. Because I do feel like a lot of fans that I have spoken to of United, they are attached to De Gea in a sense because he's been there for so long and you can rely on him because in vital moments, he keeps shit out. But you can also improve on him as well. You know what I mean?
I have no doubt. Yeah, I have no doubt that you can improve on him, but I don't think he's one of the first 5 or 6 things we need to address this window. So, like long term, potentially, maybe yes. But I'm also, part of me thinks that, like, yes, football's changing. You can look at modern day this, modern day that. But at the end of the day, your job's your job, right? So De Gea's job is to stop the ball going in the net first and foremost. All the other stuff is a bonus. Like, yes, you can use him to build play. Yes, you can do him to, like Edison. Like Edison's basically used as like a CDM that plays at the back as a sweeper keeper. Like if you try and press them, he'll ping a 50-yard ball over the top, and if you don't press him, he'll just pass it out, and he's comfortable. Like he makes them very hard to play against. But his job is still to stop the ball from going in the net. It kind of happens with like fullbacks and stuff as well. People laud like Trent going forward and then don't realise how fragile he is going back, and it costs them games. And it's like your job is to defend, and we get kind of like
I
thrown
agree.
sometimes.
I agree.
We get thrown sometimes, man. I don't get it. So like,
check it, James. Listen, sorry to insult. Let me just quickly before I forget,
no,
because I got, you know me, I got bad memory in it, so it's one of them. So basically, yeah, I feel like that you're right in a sense, but on the other side, you can look at it a little bit different as well in it. So, like with De Gea, yeah, Arsenal, United, we're behind the best teams. Now, the best teams have that keeper that can do both. Yeah. So, in order to catch up to them, you need to be on par and on level with them. Now, if your keeper's good at one thing, but he's not so good at another thing, which the top teams that it is City and Liverpool with their keepers Edison and Allison, they can do that. So why not upgrade? Why not try to get further along the line and catch up with these teams rather than just settle with, all right, he should be a good keeper. That's all he needs to do. That's it. Because the modern age has moved on. Obviously, I'm pretty old school with my thinking as well. I'm like that as well. Do your job first. But look, football has developed. Now, in order for us to catch up to these teams, we're going to have to basically kind of follow suit. And I'm not saying copy everything, but it just show a keeper in this day and age who can use his feet is very beneficial. So
yeah, it's an asset, no doubt about it. But I think we need to get away from the idea that there's only one way to play football. Like even City and Liverpool play completely different styles of football. Like they don't play the same. Like so, we need to get away from that. Like growing up, we watched keepers like Casillas, who is completely different to Buffon, who is completely different to Manuel
Oliver
Neuer.
Kahn.
Oliver Kahn, like completely different, right? All 4 completely different keepers. There's not one way to play football. So just because we need to catch teams up doesn't mean we need to play the same way. We might need to get someone who's just confident with the ball at their feet, but only for 10, 15-yard passes, and then maybe work on centre-backs and full-backs that can bring out the ball or have the confidence to beat a man. We
But that's
might
it.
want to go into midfield and flood it with people that are really good aerially, and then flood it with people with good engines so we can win the second ball. It's just like there's different ways of playing football. Like we had a really good record under Ollie against the top teams, City in particular, but City and Liverpool. And because our style of play suited playing them. Now, there was no doubt they were a better team than us, but our style of play just worked against them. There's not one way to play football. And I do agree that it's an asset. Having a Ramsdale that can kick the ball out, if you look at the top level, having an Edison is obviously an asset. But
It's
let's
not
not
even just
pretend that
kicking the ball
Edison's
out. It's not
exist.
even just kicking the ball out, though, James. It's about being commanding. Because let me tell you now, he is not commanding whatsoever.
He's not.
And he's never been commanding since he's got there. The problem is with United, James, is their defense is shit in it. So because their defense is shit, they can't afford to have a keeper that can do one thing as well. Their key, like for this is just my opinion. They need a keeper that can be able to rectify some of the issues that the defense can do. Also, not a keeper that's just going to kick the ball out left, right, and center instead of catching it when the defenders ain't good enough anyway. They're probably not even switched on. So that's from an opposing fan. I see it as there's a lot more positive outcomes if you upgraded on De Gea than if you were just to stick with him, because I feel like he's been at United for too long, man. I don't disagree. He's a top keeper. He's a good goalkeeper, good shot stopper, probably one of the best in the league. But it's time to move on for him. I've heard a lot of United fans loving De Gea and they don't want to let go of him. But I just see it and I think, you know what? I hear that he's been there. He's been a loyal servant. He's held it up. But the way United's defense is, the way United play football, like you said, is there's many ways of playing football. But if you've got a shit defense, you've got a shit defense in it. You can't really
So
cover that
on
one up.
that, Matt, where are you putting De Gea in the list of, like, where are you putting goalkeeper in the list of our transfers that we need? Like, from the outside looking in.
I wouldn't say it's the massivest priority, but I think that's somewhere United definitely do need to look at. I think it is a priority as well because, like you said, there's different styles to play football. Now, if you've got one goalkeeper that could play one style, that limits you. It limits you to certain styles. Where if you've got a keeper that could play two different styles, it will then open up the options of how you can play. And I feel like the way United have been, it's like with Arsenal, we had it for a while where we didn't really have a goalkeeper where we felt comfortable with, or a goalkeeper where we had the ball and he was a little bit nervy here and there. I'm not saying that United fans feel like that with De Gea, but like I said, as an Arsenal fan, when I watch United play football, anyone that gets a corner or a set piece, I'm thinking, right, there's a good chance they're scoring it, because I don't have no confidence. And that's me being a fan, being an Arsenal fan, not even a United fan. So I feel like they do. That's a position that needs to get rectified, but a lot of people are not really seeing it. In my sense, that's just my opinion, to be honest with you.
I get it, man. But let's say we have 150 million pound to spend this summer. Are you spending any of that on a goalkeeper? How much?
But could you not sell De Gea? Would you not get nothing for him? Because I'm sure you could.
That's an argument. But then
because then that comes down to the club, innit? That comes down to the club that has not run properly and ran correctly. Yeah. At the end of the day, people need to get put into place to make these decisions. Look at Arsenal. The way, I'm not going to lie, this summer it looks like they're moving a little bit more proactive. But until I see players come through the door, I'm not going to be getting gassed up at all. But we've made so many mistakes over the last, say, best part of 5-6 years, yeah, that we're still paying for him right now. We're selling Guendouzi for like 9.2 mil. Young prospect, not even a prospect. He's been in the game for a while now, but he's young, he's established, and we're not really getting value for these players. And you know what? It does come down to the owners. But with the United fans, I feel this is just what I can see. I feel like they are now starting to accept the decline. They're now starting to wait. Will it be willing to wait to build something? But the lack of transfer activity that's happening in the market right now for you guys, if I was a United fan, I'd be disheartened to anything. Be looking like he's finishing top 10, probably 11th. Because Ronaldo's going to go. Believe me, James. I'm telling you, Ronaldo's going to go. He's not going to stay to play in the Europa League.
That's where we disagree, mate. I think he'll stay. I do think he'll stay.
What makes you think he's going to stay?
I just think it's all hearsay to get the board to go and pull the finger out and do something. I really do. I think Mendes has done it before, and there's no smoke without fire, like, obviously, but I just think that Mendes has done it before. He wants the board to match his ambition, and I think a couple of signings through the door and he'll change his mind. The statement that came out, it basically said, if a suitable offer comes in, right? And that's kind of ambiguous, because what is suitable to him may not be suitable to the club, may not be suitable to the fan base. Like, that's kind of open for interpretation, really. So I think he could always come out, if he did decide to stay, and be like, oh, well, by suitable offer, I meant me earning this much money, or me doing this, or if it was this specific club or whatever. And so I think there's ways out of it so the fan base doesn't turn on him. But I just think he'll stay. Listen, I could be completely wrong, and you could have me on next week, and Ronaldo will be in a Bayern Munich shirt, and I'll be like, hands up, fair play, I'm wrong.
But do you know what? That's the United fanboy in you that just wants him to stay in it, James. That's all it is, bro. I'm telling you. You turn around. What have you got in the back?
What? I don't put names on that.
Do
Not,
you know what I
not that bad.
mean? You see, it says, but yeah, here's a question for you, James, from Kish.
Yeah.
If Ronaldo leaves, do we fall lower in the league or with strengthening in other positions like Frankie de Jong and a new manager improve the team?
It very much depends on incomings. So if you have the whole team as it is
Mm,
and you just remove Ronaldo, we're lower in the league. That's
mm,
without a doubt. If we bring in other players and including a striker, then we're probably higher in the league. If we bring in Frankie and we keep Ronaldo, I think we're even higher in the league. So
mm.
it very much depends on incomings. It's not just if Ronaldo leaves or not. It's not that simple.
Do you reckon there's a chance Chelsea could get him? Because I've been hearing this report branding around a little bit. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie. And to be honest, they're in the Champions League. They've got a
Yep.
decent manager.
Yep.
Obviously, they haven't got the owner they once had, but it looks like they're saying Bowie is sitting down with George Mendes for a meeting, stuff like that's happening. What do you reckon? Do you reckon there's a possibility, a sneaky chance that he could go to Chelsea? Because I'm sure that'd be a big kick in the dick for United fans.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily like it. So the first time this Ronaldo story came out was last week, right? When Mendes had the meeting with the Chelsea owner, like you said. And I don't think there was anything in that, to be honest. I think just Mendes was meeting someone that he arguably wanted to do business with in future. He's got several clients. He's going to meet owners of football clubs.
Hmm.
I think Ronaldo's name probably came up in a list of, loads of people that are his clients. And he probably said, you know what? Cristiano probably is open to a move if the right thing came. He's not going to stay at United forever. But I don't
Hmm.
think he went into that meeting and said, oh, by the way, Cristiano wants to come to Chelsea. Like, I don't think that, like, that's almost how it was reported. And I don't think that was the case at all. And do I think he could go? I mean, I don't think he has any, because he has loyalty to United, but at the end of the day, he is very self-serving. And if the right offer came in, it very much comes down to what the board do. If the board don't sign any players and we mess about in the transfer market and we only sign this backup left back or whatever, this young, like 21-year-old left back or whatever he is, then Ronaldo has every entitlement to want to go. And it
Hmm.
may be Bayern Munich, it may be Napoli, it may be Chelsea, whoever it is, he has a right, man.
Napoli,
And
though. Why
I
would you
can't
want to
stand
go
him.
Napoli?
I've heard Napoli,
But why, though? Why Napoli? Like, to me,
Champions
that's
League.
just, yeah, but yeah, they ain't going to do nothing in the Champions League, then. Best believe
Well,
that. I'm telling you now for a
yeah.
fact.
How funny
And
is it if he goes there to play in the Champions League, they play in the group stages, get knocked out, come and play in the Europa League and play us?
you know what? Yeah, he ain't going Napoli. He's going Bayern Munich. I'm telling you now. He's going
Well,
Bayern. What's Kish saying there? He's got one more. He's
he's
got.
going
This
to
is,
Carrington, getting some food, coming back, and he'll be at Old Trafford first game of the season. Don't worry about that.
let's see. You say the team without Ronaldo, as it is, was dropping performances. The season before, same team finished second. Does Ronaldo affect the overall team performance with his style of play? I told you this is
I
my mate.
mentioned it.
This is my mate that was speaking to you about
Yeah.
you.
Well,
You
I literally
know.
mentioned this before, though. Like, so you can't compare that season because that season was a bit of a freak with other teams. But also, you've got to look at the form of the other players. Like, you had a firing Rashford playing, a firing Martial playing. You had Greenwood in the team. Like, we don't have any of those three options. Martial went on loan to Sevilla. Rashford's form fell off a cliff. Martial did nothing in Sevilla. They gave him the big announcement, and he was awful. Even the owner was like, he has to do more if he wants to play. Like they were in a title challenge when he came, and then they finished nowhere. Rashford fallen off a cliff. Greenwood obviously can't play. We're in a completely different scenario to when we finished second in the league. So you can't compare that, mate. It's like apples and oranges. Sorry if it's you made me. You can't compare that. Sorry.
Apples and oranges, apples and pears, bro. Apples and pears.
Apples and pears, whatever. I don't know. Don't be
You
apple
know
pears.
what? Yeah,
God knows.
I'm gonna answer this question in a second. We'll answer this question as well because Lissandro Martinez from Craig. Just before I do go into it, people, make sure you're smashing a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and also comment. I try to comment, reply back to as many comments as I can. Still trying to grow the channel, people. Fairly new in the venture, so support the ting. Don't hate, appreciate, and like the ting. Craig, right? Lissandro Martinez, Arsenal and United, a battle. I personally think United will win the battle for him because he's Ten Hag's ex-player. He will know his system, will know how he wants him to play. I feel like United have got one over us in this deal, to be honest. I don't know where you think on it or your thoughts.
The way that United deal with things in the transfer market, I would say if he signs for anyone in the next week, it'll be Arsenal. If he signs for anyone before the window closes after that, it'll probably be United. I think that if Arsenal have any chance of getting this deal without Ten Hag, they need to wrap it up fairly quickly. So I would say, like this, listen, if it's done by next Sunday, then he'll probably be wearing an Arsenal shirt. But aside from that, then the advantage is with United, and just from not even from like a bigger club point of view or a bigger history or whatever, it's purely from the Eric Ten Hag link and that point of view.
Yeah, and just to finish off as well, people, because we've been here for 45 minutes. James, appreciate your time, appreciate your insight on Ronaldo's situation, and also just surrounding Manchester United as well. It's good to get different fans on here and discuss different clubs as well, people. Just before we do go, make sure you're smashing a like on the video again. Check out James. He's on Instagram as well, people. And obviously, he will hopefully be starting a YouTube channel soon because I want to do more collabs with him. But people, peace out. Thanks for checking in. And we'll see you probably on Tuesday now around 6, half 6. So peace out.